Henry here from Greycoat Software. I want to talk to you today about an exciting feature in our software, and it's probably a little underutilized, and that's making ticket corrections. Now, why is this so important? Well, as you know, and you may not if you're not using our software, is that everything revolves around a ticket. Typically, people think of a ticket as technically a bill of lading, which represents a shipment to a customer or a charge to an internal job that you may be running. But it's used for so many other things as well. A ticket can be used for a transfer between locations, an inter-pit or interlocation transfer, any inbound purchase. It can be used for charging inbound delivery of waste, recycled product that's coming in. And as well, it can be used for equipment rentals. It can be used for charging equipment rentals to a customer or to a job. And there's probably some things I've just haven't got on my ready list here. So everything runs on a ticket, and that's made it a very powerful and elegant system. So one of the things that we see people doing is making an adjustment in the invoicing for corrections. And now, for example, you've got 3 or 4 tickets. They went to the wrong product. The wrong price was charged. So the typical invoicing solution is to credit the erroneous amount and then debit the correct amount, even though it might be multiple truckloads or multiple products. There's a problem in doing this. We believe that there should only be one truth in any system, and the truth in the Compass system is the ticket. Try and keep the tickets as solid as you can. Now, when you begin making adjustments in other systems, like say your invoicing, well, think of all the things that the ticket does. It invoices the customer, but also is used to pay the trucker. It's used to update the inventory, any purchase deliveries. It's used to pay landholder royalties. It's used to pay government levies. In Ontario, Canada, the ministry levy. In other provinces, there's a township levy. It's used to apply surcharges that might apply. And right now, fuel surcharges, for example, are calculated and applied to the ticket automatically by the system. Taxes, and also for cash or charge collection. So when you just make an adjustment only on an invoice, you then have to also correct all these other subledgers and subsystems as well. What if you could just make one fix? And with what I'm going to show you with the net change system, it's beautiful because you don't have to make any calculations or spreadsheets on the side. You go to the root of the problem and you correct that, and the system does all the rest of the work for you. So I'm just going to show you that now. We'll begin our demo of the net change feature here at the Compass menu. There's one feature I'd like to point out that's new to our software. This is Ask Compass AI. And later, when you want to try out this feature, if you're not using it now, you can type in something like explain net change feature. A chatbot opens up from the AI, and it explains roughly how you can use this feature and a process for net change feature. Let's call it net change tickets. Yeah. Okay, and it explains 2 processes because we have actually 2 ways of implementing net change feature. You can roll back an entire invoice and then adjust the tickets that are in error on that invoice. You can also look at specific tickets and do net change against one or more of these tickets. But it's all explained in point form right here, as are most processes within the Compass ERP system. So please do avail yourself, and we would love to get feedback on this feature. Before explaining the net change feature in detail, and it doesn't take that long, I'd just like to review the overall context of managing tickets within the Compass system. So this is our master console. Tickets come into the Compass system in the form of batches. You can also enter tickets, but typically they're being entered at multiple locations. And in the right hand here, we have our various scalehouse and depot connections telling us, that they're active in real time. So we have our status and the number of tickets we've done so far today. Obviously, this is not active here in our demo. And the last batch that has come in. So there's a control process that is used by each of the locations on batches. And over here we list all our batches so that we can take any given batch, and if there's an error flag in the batch, when you first bring up the system, folks get quite a few errors, and we've made it very easy to drill down to where the errors are. I'm going to demonstrate just one more feature which will lead into the net change. Most ticket changes can be made readily to tickets that have not yet been invoiced. Most of our clients do a consolidated invoice, say on a weekly basis, for truckloads that have gone out. They may also invoice on a daily basis for one-time shipments and for cash sales. Anyway, just look at this one feature where we drill down from this batch of 6 tickets, or the demo account. I just have 2 batches here. Typically, one of our users would have 1 batch per location per day. So 5 locations, it might easily be 25 or 30 batches each with maybe 100 or 200 tickets that they're managing, actively managing. And as I indicated, we have error flagging and color coding to help you quickly correct tickets. But we found in practice, the situation would arise where you have a pit that's way up in northern Saskatchewan and 40 tickets go out with the wrong product number. It might be identified well enough for purposes of transit, but corrections of multiple tickets could be especially painful, where you'd have to call up one ticket repetitively after another. So, and this bears on to the net change feature I'm going to show you, but basically we have this feature where you can multi-select this way using the control key, or select a range of tickets this way, or just select all tickets in the batch, and then do a wholesale change of the date, customer, job site indication, product. So let's just say I did want to change the product on all these tickets that I selected. I could, with one fell swoop, change them all to whatever the product number was supposed to be. I'm not going to do that because we do use these are active tickets for a demo, but just to illustrate this feature. We're now going to take a look at doing a net change invoice to an invoice that went out in error. So I have a batch here of 4 tickets from a demo. Could very well be more tickets in a real world situation, but this will be a little more concise. So what's happened here is that these 4 tickets went out at a wholesale price, and they should have gone out at a special price that's been set up for the job site. Probably, and this does happen, is that the truck went out before the quote or the job site had been submitted, and was priced erroneously, and it wasn't caught in time by the office when they reviewed the tickets. So now we need to customers has indicated that they did not obtain their special contract price on these first tickets on that job site. So what we need to do to fix this is to call up the tickets, as I just did, and then indicate we want to do a reprice net change. Create a net change adjustment. Yes, that's exactly what we want to do. So one thing it will do is that it will check and see if there were any price mods, which I have set up new pricing, but this doesn't apply. So I'm going to just create the net change tickets. And what the system is going to do is create 4 credits for the original invoice and 4 debits to rebill the customer for these 4 tickets. So we will save these. Now we'll go in and look at our adjustment batch that's been created with the 4 credits and 4 debits. Let's look first of all at one of the credits identified with a C in the ticket ID. We can see that what's happened here is that we have an exact reversal of what was invoiced, and furthermore, these override flags have been set on so that any repricing that we do will not change anything or alter anything in these particular tickets. Okay, so that's that. Now let's look at these 4 debit memos, which is where we want to apply our correction. So as we showed before, we can multi-select the 4 debits. It's the same change in all cases. And what we want to do is change our pricing type to special price. Elsewhere, the new prices have been set up as to what they should be. So those records have been updated. And we can see here now they say special price. Let's re-edit our batch, which will reprice everything. And we No errors here. There's some warnings on the original credits. We're not going to worry about those warnings. So let's now compare to what we had previously and what we have now. Give ourselves a tiny bit more space on the screen. Here's our credit memo. That we looked at already. I'm going to pin that. What I've done is I've cleared up a little more screen real estate at the bottom so we can look at the second ticket. This ticket's been pinned. We'll look at our pricing again that I showed you before. Now let's look at the comparison debit that was made. And we'll go again to the product line information. And we can see that the previous price of $15.40 wholesale has been reduced as per our special pricing contract. And as well, it's picked up the actual amount to be paid to the trucker is different as well. So it will correct the trucker pay in addition. Now, if we could actually apply an override here if we wanted to, but this is correct. We do want to pay the trucker the additional amount. The other thing I just want to show you in terms of how powerful this is that, remember our material price here at $12? Let's go over to the job site pricing record and look at the pricing that has been set up, and we can see that the current price is actually $12.50. But because this ticket went out in April, it has picked up the historical price of $12 in terms of making our adjustment. And for another thing, fuel surcharges have gone into effect from May 1 with quite a few of our customers. So given that it's a historical ticket, it won't apply the fuel surcharges because none were in effect. We use effectivity date coding on everything in the system, and this really makes it much cleaner to apply adjustments. Can you imagine having to prepare this manually? There's so many things to think about. Old prices, new prices, fuel surcharges, and so on, levies. But the system's going to take care of all that for us. Okay. The last thing that I'd like to show you is the effect on our invoices. We have a price audit report we can run before we run the actual invoices, and this will suffice to show you that here are the credits that have been applied to this customer account. Here's the new charges on the 4 tickets, and we can see that the customer is going to get a credit of $648. Our HST is applied correctly. I don't have the modifier prompts here, but it is there in the actual invoices. If there was any levy changes, those would be shown here. Not the case for those of our clients that do show levies, some don't. And then our product summary shows that there's been no change in quantities as far as the inventory effect. We would see a credit and debit going in through the inventory and through our sales, but those quantities are actually a wash. So a lot of things to worry about when you do adjust for a correction, and the principles again are that we go to the root of the problem, not worry about all the pricing tables if those are correct. The root of the problem, what was wrong? Was it the trucking firm? Was it the pricing type? Was it the actual pricing? Was it the job site that was correct? Product identification? Any of those can lead to a problem, and we correct the root of the problem, and everything from making that one correction, everything flows in terms of consequences. The system's going to take care of all that for you.